The start of the rally in men's doubles is so important. In fact, after analysing hundreds of matches, we found that for professionals, between 30 and 40% of rallies were over within the first 4 shots. And for intermediate and advanced players, this goes up to 40 to 50%, with many matches even higher than this.
That is crazy. So no matter how good you are, if you want to level up your game, we'd recommend getting your notepad out, as we're about to share the most effective serves you can do in men's doubles and what you should do afterwards, whilst also giving lots of tactical tips throughout. So let's get straight to it.
So before we dive into what serve you should play, where should you both be standing? Well, this is really important to get right, as it might be the difference between hitting the third shot early and not getting it at all. For the person serving, hopefully you're stood close to the service line and around the tee and not doing anything crazy like serving from the tram lines. We've seen it done before.
And for your partner who's not serving, they should be stood around here. This is a good position as it's central, so you can hopefully reach both sides of the mid-court and rear court from here. Of course, if you find you struggle a lot more to get the returns on the backhand side, then you might move half a step further over, but we'll talk more about this in a second. Also, if you find you struggle to see over your partner if he's really tall, then again, we'd advise moving half a step further over in one direction.
Now, we just alluded to slightly moving your position when your partner is serving, but a lot of this will depend on where your partner serves to. So let's go through some examples of where you should serve to and what you should both do after this. Firstly, we'd really recommend telling your partner where you're serving to. This might feel weird at first, but it hugely improves your organisation, so you're both not looking for the same return. And you might watch some pros and think they don't do this, but they've also trained for hundreds of hours together, so they know what each other are doing. And they're also better at knowing what the likely replies are going to be and adjusting accordingly.
So let's start with our first serving set play, which begins with a simple serve to the tee. And what should you do as the server after this? Well, it depends mostly on your opponent's habits and how they set up to receive the serve, as this often limits what they can play. But one of the most common return of serves we see intermediate players doing is trying to push the shuttle into the corner. This is often cross-court because intermediate players are less likely to be as aggressive onto the return of serve as pros, therefore letting it drop to below the height of the net. From here, pushing it cross-court is typically an easier shot as it's more natural, and there's also probably a psychological element of, I need to hit it to the other side.
Yeah, so because this return is coming upwards, you as the server can then look to intercept it. Hitting a winner on the third shot not only frustrates your opponents, but it's also a great feeling, and it can win you so many points. Usually people are more comfortable trying to intercept the third shot on their forehand side. So another great way to encourage your opponents to hit up to your forehand side is to serve around their body. Again, what reply you should expect will depend on where your opponent is positioned, their habits, and also in this situation, exactly where you serve to. If you serve to their body from the right hand side, for example, and they can still take a backhand, they will probably play it straight down the line. Whereas if you serve slightly further across them so that they have to play a forehand, then they will probably play it cross-court instead. This is because it's more of a natural swing for your opponent to hit it cross-court.
Now you might be wondering, what should your partner be doing if you've moved to one side to look for the interception? Well, they should move round and cover the other side to be ready for anything that comes here. Of course, if you successfully intercept the return a few times, your opponent might think about playing something else the next time you serve to the tee or body, like a net shot. But this is where you can be clever and try to predict this. This will really give you a psychological advantage over your opponent and make them not know what to do on their returns, often either forcing a mistake or a lift, both of which are good results. And if they never play a net shot, then keep splitting side by side.
Our second set play is another way to get your opponents to play directly into your hands. This is where you serve low out wide to the tram line, from the left box if you're a right-hander and from the right box if you're a left-hander. After you've done this serve, you as a server should move to cover your forehand side and your partner should cover the middle and the cross-court. This is so effective because the most likely reply from your opponent is a push straight up the tram line, so you can quickly move over to cover this. However, it's worth noting that this set play only really works if you're fast enough to serve from the tee and then move over in time. So, what should you do if you're not fast enough?
Well, here you can still serve out wide, but then your partner would move to cover the straight, and you then take half a step back and cover the cross. It's unlikely that your opponent will be able to lift cross-court if you serve well, so you don't really need to worry about this shot. And the other shot which you're technically not covering is a straight net shot. But if they do play this, then your partner can come in and lift it. But as we just mentioned, remember this, and then the next time you do this low serve to the tramline, you as the server can anticipate this net shot reply. Again, dominating the first 3 shots is about predicting the likely return based on your opponent's habits and body positioning. Adding variety into your serves makes your opponent uncomfortable as they can't get into a rhythm, and doing this well can often either force a weak reply or even a mistake.
Now, a lot of people don't think about serving out wide because it might look obvious to their opponents that they're going to do this. But you can actually play a flick serve out wide with a very similar technique to almost deceive your opponents. In a lot of situations, the flick serve can be really effective, but what should you do after it to ensure that you're set up for success? Well, we've been asked this a lot, so here goes.
Firstly, you need to have the mindset that a flick serve is an attacking shot, and you want to be in a good position to counter-attack afterwards. The best option after flicking out wide is to move back on the same side you flicked from. This means you're covering the cross-court shot, allowing you more time to react to the return. And because your partner is behind you, they'll be better reacting to the straight shot.
You should, however, change your position depending on how good your flick serve is. So, if you've done a really good flick serve and you can see that your opponent is taking it late and off balance, then you should move your position forwards to be earlier and more aggressive onto the next shot. In contrast, if your flick isn't great and your opponent is looking like they're going to play a good shot, then you should move back into a more defensive position. Now, it's important to mention that when doing this, you shouldn't move too far back. You definitely don't want to still be moving backwards as you're attempting to play the next shot. Instead, you should stay wherever you are as your opponent is hitting it. This will increase the chance of not just getting the shuttle back, but also playing an effective shot.
Our 4th serving set play is one that really isn't used enough, and this is a flick down the middle. It can be used effectively from both sides, but what you should do after the serve depends on which side you flick from. If you flick to a right-handed player from the left-hand side, or a left-handed player from the right-hand side, you generally move back on the same side you've served from, like for the flick out wide. But what works really well is when you're serving to a right-hander from the right side, or a left-hander from the left side. Here, we'd recommend moving to the other side after you've served, but staying quite high up on the court. Your partner should then move to cover the cross.
Yeah, and your partner has to be ready because when you do this serve, the most likely return from your opponent is cross-court, following their natural swing. This is why we'd recommend your partner to move cross, because they have more time to react and move forwards into the shot. And also, hopefully, they can see where the space is on the court. And where is the space? Well, again, it really depends on your opponents, but 2 great shots are a straight drive, as it's really hard for your opponent's partner to quickly react to this, or a cross-court block, because hopefully the returner should be moving backwards and off balance.
Now, what happens if your serve isn't good and they're not off balance? Well, this set play probably isn't going to work. If your flick is too flat, then your opponent doesn't have to move. And if it's too high, then it gives them too much time to get behind the shuttle and play a smash straight at you. And it's important to mention that when setting up like this, you're almost completely ignoring the clear to here. But this is the most difficult shot for your opponent to hit. If they do manage to do this, then either you or your partner should still be able to move there in time. Ignoring certain areas of the court is a big part of this video, and it will also be a big part of next week's video, where we're moving on to the most effective returns of serve in men's doubles.
Yeah, and as well as playing against literally every level of badminton player over the last 20 years to work out what serves work best. As we mentioned at the start of this video, we've analysed hundreds of matches to help us learn the best and worst serves and set plays in men's doubles. Now, if you're wondering how we've managed to watch so many matches when a lot of them are geo-blocked, well, we've been using Surfshark VPN, who are kindly sponsoring this video.
A VPN is a virtual private network, which we've been using for years, and Surfshark VPN specifically has so many benefits. Most importantly, if you're in a country where you want to watch live badminton, or even the match back after it's finished, but you can't find it, well, then it's been geo-blocked. But by using Surfshark VPN, you can essentially travel the world in one click. You can now see all of these matches. This feature isn't only good for watching badminton matches, although it is the most important for us, but it also means we can watch some of our favourite TV shows like The US Office when we're abroad.
Surfshark VPN also encrypts your data, which is especially important when you're on a public Wi-Fi. And with one subscription, you can have it on unlimited devices. We'd highly recommend Surfshark VPN to anyone. It's so simple to set up and use. And if you use our link in the description below and enter the code Badminton Insight, you can get this crazy offer of 85% off and the first 3 months for free. And even if you don't like it, they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So head down to the description below and use our link, which not only gets you the VPN, but also helps to support our channel. So thanks in advance, and thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video.
So now you've got some great set plays you can use when serving in men's doubles. But you're probably wondering what you should do on the return of the serve. Well, we're covering this in next week's video, so keep an eye out. Or if you're watching this in more than a week's time, then we'll link it here for you. And that's it for this video. Please don't forget to smash the subscribe button so the YouTube algorithm knows to serve you up some more of our videos. Bye.